Welcome to the People Sports Podcast. I am Mark Titus. She is laughing, and her name is Charlotte Wilder. What's going on, Charlotte? What's going on in that brain of yours this week, right?
Sometimes, but when we start, like right before we start rolling, we roll the intro, and you and I are just looking at each other. It feels like a laughing contest, like who breaks first, and I always break. And so when you go to intro the show, I'm laughing for no reason.
You know those shows. Most of them are scripted, but sometimes you'll get a behind the scenes look at like stand up comedians or basically like that's a move sometimes with stand up comedians where they show behind the scenes and then the stand up's like walking to the stage and you see the whole build up. And then the curtains come in, they're like, ladies and gentlemen, Chris Rock. And then the thing go, and then the camera followed him the whole way. Yeah. And then he comes out and the crowd's going nuts or something. I don't know if Chris Rock's ever actually used that. But
he has in Tambourine, in his special Tambourine.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
It feels like every stand-up.
I always love those. I find those so fascinating. The reason I pointed out is that I want to tell the listeners that our version of that would be horrible. It would be if you watch like the 5-minute lead up to us starting the show. It is not interesting. It is not fun. It is not like, oh, cool. So that's what happens before they, we see the actual product. It's terrible.
It would be me being like, why don't my headphones work? And you're like, are they plugged in? And I'm like, yeah, that's the problem. That's the only way I know how to fix them.
A little housekeeping out of the gate. First of all, we have 1,000 things to talk about this week, Charlotte. It is a jam-packed show. We're going to be all over the place and try our best to weave it all together, and we'll fail because it's like, I mean, for God's sakes, we have the NBA. Kevin Durant has the game of his life. It is all anyone is talking about this morning until there's other stuff to talk about in the NBA, which is that everyone is out now. Kawhi Leonard has maybe a torn ACL. We don't know yet. As of this recording, the word is that the Clippers fear, I believe Shams tweeted that the Clippers fear it is an ACL injury, which is basically, the writing's on the wall there as to what, I don't want to speculate, but also the only time I ever say the words I don't want to speculate is
when we're speculating.
I really want to speculate. So that's horrible, obviously. I mean, for God's sakes, a guy who is one of the best players in the world, we'll call him that, but he's probably not the best player because of what Kevin Durant did and has everybody going crazy. Meanwhile, Chris Paul, the darling of these playoffs, we just did a list of the things that you want to see happen in sports.
Yep.
And the Suns win the title is on your number one, and Chris Paul just had what happened to Chris Paul? Do we know exactly?
Well, he's on the COVID list, Mark, and I have so many questions. I don't even know where to start.
All right. We'll unpack in a second. I just wanted to set the table of stuff.
Yes, we're gonna talk about that too.
He's. Oh, by the way, as we were recording this, we just got word that LaMelo Ball won Rookie of the Year, which pour one out for Anthony Edwards, but. LaMelo Ball, that's exciting, I guess. That's
good for him, right?
You're a Charlotte person. You're literally a Charlotte person. So
literally a Charlotte person. The amount that I know about Charlotte basketball for someone who has a jersey that says Charlotte basketball on it, not the basketball part, is comical.
We do have some housekeeping though before we get to everything, which is that we are going to take a couple weeks off. This is the last show for a few weeks, and the both of us are kind of on pre-vacation. As it turns out, we're going to take a couple weeks off. And where are you? You're in Maine?
Yeah, we're both at our parents' house, Mark.
Yeah.
Which feels great to me.
It's
honestly.
Funny. Yeah.
This is I'm in Maine. I was just hanging out on the porch with my mom and dad, having a lovely time. Echo, the dog, is here. The German Shepherd. I don't think I could have done the dog show if I hadn't known that I was going to see Echo. 2 days later, because I have spent the entire time on the floor with her so far. But yeah, we're gearing up for a big fall. We're gonna have a very busy fall, and July and August is gonna be preparing for that fall and trying to make sure that we don't let everybody down this fall. When we go on our road show. And so you're on vacation next week. I'm on vacation the week after that. We're both sort of all over the place in the meantime. So we're going to make this a doozy of a show. We're going to make it 15 hours long so you can listen to it over the next 2 weeks.
We are going to follow in the NBA's footsteps and have an off season in the last 2 weeks. So then that way when we come back, we get injured and our vocal cords don't work and we didn't take enough rest. And
perfect. I love it. You are wearing a golf outfit.
I am, yeah. So I just got off. I'm not even kidding. Like 10 minutes ago, just got done golf. My parents, the house I'm in is not my parents' it's not the place I grew up in. I'm in South Carolina. My parents, my brother-in-law and sister just moved down here. My brother-in-law got a big promotion, and they have kids, and my parents want to see their grandkids. So my parents just recently got a condo down in South Carolina, and the whole family is down here because my sister and brother moved down this week. My parents are moving into their condo. I surprised the family. They didn't know I was flying in. So I showed up, and my parents' condo is on a golf course, and we were stuck in the middle of a heated round with my brother, my dad, and I. We were golfing, and it was very contentious. It came down to the wire. I hurt my wrist very badly. I was hitting it fat. Do you play golf, Charlotte? Do you know what hitting it fat means?
Yeah, I play golf.
Okay.
Come on, hitting it fat. Obviously, everybody knows what that means.
That means I was hitting the ball so fat I was not even hitting the ball. I was hitting like 3 feet behind the ball, and I sprained my wrist. And we had a moment, Charlotte. Like, this was the most captivating moment maybe in sports history. I was Charlie Conway out there with the golf club, making sure my wrist was okay. Or that's Adam Banks. Oh my God, I blew the Mighty Ducks reference. It was Adam Banks that hurt his wrist. That's right. And then his wrist was fine, and Charlie said, "You can take my spot, Adam." God damn.
Oh my God, you were so close.
But we finished the round, and my brother and I tied, and I just wanted to call my brother out because he listens to our show, that every time I golf with my brother, we always find a way to tie, and I don't know how that happens, but I do know how it happens, which is that we both know going into the final hole what we need to do to, like, beat each other.
Yeah.
And then like, whoever makes the putt first is like, the other guy will be like, "What'd you get?" You say it out loud, you do the math in your head, then you make your putt, and then you say, "What'd you get?" And then you always say the number that ties every single time because you know that you actually lost. So that's what happened. And I think my brother lied about what he shot. So anyway.
Oh, wait, that's amazing. See, I was thinking that could go either way. It could be that you're such good friends, such lovely brothers to each other that you want to spare each other's feelings, but it's actually that neither of you wants to lose. So if you lie and tie, you're not lying about winning because that's unacceptable, but you just tied.
He was up by 1 stroke on the final hole, and I pipe mine down the middle. He hits his out of bounds. His drive. And then we keep playing out the hole. I didn't really have a great hole, but it was whatever. I think I ended up parring it. And then I asked him what he got, and he said bogey, and I was like, "There is no way you bogey this. There is no way you bogey this." But...
Okay, I have a question, Mark.
Anyway.
When you play golf, do you play 18 holes?
Yeah, of course.
That's entirely too many holes.
It's too many holes. Yeah, it's a lot of holes.
I have never played. I'm gonna be honest. I played a lot of golf growing up. Well, you know, I've never played 18 holes of golf in my life.
It's a lot of holes.
My ideal golf outing is I go with my dad. We play 4 holes. I'm like, I'm good, and we go home.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. Nine isn't enough though. I'm about, put me down for like 14 and a half. I think, like, it depends on how my drive goes on hole 14 or hole 15, whether I can finish 15. But then
by the time we get to the 7th hole, I'm like, I'm just gonna ride in the cart. Like, if we ever go golfing together, which we should, because that'd be incredible content. I will give up by the 7th hole. I guarantee. I'm like, I'm bored. I'll hang out, but like, I'm sick of doing this.
You just start hammering beers at that point. I think that's how it works.
Yeah.
I gotta before we get to the NBA stuff, because I do want to talk a lot about that. We got to talk about the Suns and 4 guy, by the way, which you have not seen video yet.
No, we're going to watch that. I'm going to watch that live for the first time here, because remember when it was March Madness and you would come on the show and be like, "I'm sorry, I have no idea what's going on except for college basketball." That's how I felt this weekend with the dog show. And the thing about that is that there was actually a lot going on. Like, it was the NBA playoffs. Like, shit's been happening. And I was just, palling around with miniature schnauzers. So I need to, and when I realized I hadn't watched the video yesterday and we were in the planning meeting, I was like, no. I think it's funnier if we hold on and do this live, a genuine reaction.
Yeah. All right. So you're aware of it. You're aware that this has swept the internet by storm. This was the talk of the NBA before Kevin Durant, and then the news today of Kawhi and CP3. So yeah, we'll watch that. Before we get to that, I have a story for you. I have an Aaron Rodgers update, because we are
an Aaron Rodgers update.
I mean, I feel like Pat McAfee's show is probably the Aaron Rodgers podcast, given that Aaron Rodgers goes on his show all the time and like breaks actual Aaron Rodgers news on that show. But I would say we're second, are we not? Like, we've positioned ourselves. We're more the Sharon. What's her name? Sharon.
Oh my God, that's their celebrity couple name.
That is their celebrity couple, Sharon. Sharon!
They're like a middle-aged mom in Acton, Massachusetts. Sharon.
We are the Shailene Woodley, I guess, podcast, which is by extension the Aaron Rodgers podcast. So I have a very juicy update, and the update is this. So I'm going to give our listeners the backstory on this. So I don't know how much I'm at liberty to give away, but I'll say this. I know a guy who was
every story you can definitely trust starts with I know a guy.
Yeah, starts with I know a guy. So there's a facility, a workout facility in the Valley of Los Angeles is what we'll call it, in the San Fernando Valley. I believe it's called the San Fernando Valley. Everyone just calls it the Valley, and no one ever says exactly what it is. I think it's the San Fernando Valley. The Valley in LA, there's a facility where athletes work out, and I know somebody who is at this facility where there are a lot of NBA draft hopefuls are working out there. There are athletes of various variety. My source, we'll call him,
your
is
guy.
not a, is,
No, Mark,
my guy,
he's your guy.
My guy is not an athlete. He is tangentially related to the sports world. We'll put it that way. He is at this facility. These guys are working out. The basketball guys are working out. He is on a golf simulator at the facility, and he turns and looks as he's on a golf simulator that overlooks a lot of basketball courts. There are a bunch of NBA draft prospects working out on one of them. On another basketball court is a man with a man bun putting up jump shots, who goes by the name of Aaron Rodgers. And this caught his attention because he was like, what the hell? This man has been dominating sports talk, obviously. This is kind of the story in the NFL right now, is what the hell is Aaron Rodgers going to do?
Right,
is he coming back to the Packers?
To get eyes on Aaron Rodgers alone is a huge deal.
We have eyes on Aaron Rodgers. He's in this facility. He's putting up jump shots, Charlotte. What does that mean? What does that tell us? We're trying to track it, figure it all out. So he keeps monitoring the situation. And so this is the part I want to pause and say, this is what I had told Charlotte. So I meet my source for dinner. He's a friend of mine. It makes it sound like I'm like
I got deep throat.
I got
a
deep throat guy. Yeah. My source is a buddy of mine that I've known forever, and he was in LA. We went to dinner, and he was like, "Yeah, man, I was at the facility and I saw Aaron Rodgers," and he shows me a video. And Aaron Rodgers is shooting jump shots, and then he's like, "And look at this! Here he is throwing a football, and he's working out doing football drills, and he's throwing a football to a guy that I can't see who it is, but the guy looks athletic. We'll just put it at that.
Okay.
The guy looks like an athlete, and I was like, "Who's he throwing with?" And he says, "Cap," and I said, "Oh my God!" And my mind blew, and I called you, and I said,
"Oh no,
Charlotte." You see where this is going, don't you?
I had a feeling. Can I pick up from here? Can I say what you said to me?
Pick up from here.
So I get a call at the dog show. I'm sitting behind the trailer. I just got COVID tested. I'm like, I'm vaccinated. They're like, we don't care. So I'm waiting like 30 minutes for my test to run. Sitting behind the trailer under a tent. Mark's like, I have huge news. And I'm like, oh my God. And he's like, huge Aaron Rodgers news. And I'm like, that is I can't think of a better sentence anyone could say to me. So I was like, what is it? And you were like, you set up the whole thing. You're like, and he's throwing a football with Colin Kaepernick. And I lose my shit. I was like,
rightfully so. Right.
I was like, you got to get this video, man. This is the hugest news. I was like, oh my God, can you imagine like all the Daily Show, all the talk shows, all the sports news, they're going to have to credit the People Sports Podcast. This is huge. Don't hear anything from you from a week. The last thing I hear, I mean, not from a week, like about this over the weekend. The last thing I hear is I have a pretty silly story to tell you.
It's a funny update. Yeah. So when we were at dinner, he shows me the video, and I was like, let me see that again. And he gets very defensive. He's like, no. And the way he was, I was like, dude, just let me see it. And he's like, you're gonna send it to yourself and tweet it. And I was like, yeah, duh. But also, like, let me see it. Like, what's going on? Like, I need eyes on the video because I didn't get a great look at it. But I was like, all right, fine. You don't need to give me the video. Like I saw it with my own eyes. You told me who it was. That's all I need. So anyway, fast forward to the next day. I'm golfing with the same buddy, and I turned to him and I was like, dude, just send me that. Like, who cares? Like, no one. It doesn't matter. Like, it doesn't. Someone's gonna figure this out anyway. That Aaron Rodgers and Colin Kaepernick are working out together. Someone's gonna get credit. Someone is going to. This is going to be a story. Why not me? Why? Just give me the story. And he looks at me and he's like, what are you talking about, Colin Kaepernick? And I was like, you said Cap. He said he's working out with Cap. He goes, I said Cat. Carl Anthony Towns. And my question to you, Charlotte, is this. Is Cat that ubiquitous? Do we just call him Cat? Like, I understand that's how we spell it out, K-A-T. But you just call him Cat?
No, I've never heard Carl, like, I've seen it tweeted maybe, or like people who know him well refer to him that way. Yeah, you do
K-A-T in all caps when you tweet it, but you don't call him Cat. You're like, do you hear NBA players be like, yeah, like Cat had a great game? Is that a thing?
I've never heard that said before in my entire life.
So is this my fault? Is my question. How much does this fall on me that I got you titillated thinking that we had the biggest story in sports media for the entire season, that like two very explosive headline grabbing quarterbacks were working out together?
Dude, I was like, this is gonna put us on the map. We're gonna be the #1 podcast. I was like, we gotta make this show really good because it's gonna be the most listened to one yet because we're breaking Aaron Rodgers news. Instead, it said, oh, do you want to know our news? Our news is that Aaron Rodgers is throwing a football with Carl Anthony Towns.
Still pretty good news, if I may say so. I mean, that's like still interesting.
Yeah, to me, what it shows us is that either Cat, as we will now call him, is interested in a career in football, or Rodgers is thinking about pivoting to basketball.
Yeah. Well, in all seriousness, what it tells me is Aaron Rodgers is not retiring, and it bummed me out because like the moment I heard about this and then saw a video of him putting up like whether he's screwing around or like I don't know what he's doing, but he's obviously in a gym working out, and he's not in Hawaii chasing waterfalls with his fiance and Miles Teller anymore. And I don't think you go to a facility in the Valley of Los Angeles.
Without giving too much away, it's the kind of facility that you don't go to unless you're still going to play sports.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I think if you're retired, you're done. Yeah, so
if you're retired, you're not showing up at this kind of situation. So, which that's news in and of itself. Also, maybe California has has something to do with it. Aaron Rodgers spotted in California working out. There have been some Niners rumors before. Also, LA is where every athlete in the world goes in the off season, so it probably tells us nothing. But
it tells us absolutely nothing. His wife is an actress, or his fiance is a Hollywood actress.
Can I just say,
definitely doesn't tell us anything. But
I can't think of a more perfect news break for this show than what just happened.
It's so good, but I'm trying to figure out how embarrassed I should be about calling you. Because
I wouldn't be. Don't be embarrassed at all.
Yeah. Okay.
If
but
you
it is
couldn't
funny.
see who the person. No, listen. This is. I mean, maybe I'm just saying that so that the next time I think I've broken news and it turns out I'm wrong, you won't tell me I should be embarrassed because. But this is something I would 100. Are you kidding me? Like I would 100% do this. I'd be like, Cat sounds like Cap. I've never heard Carl Anthony Towns called Cat. You can't see who it is. You're at dinner, so you're not sober probably. And you're just like, oh man, I've got the scoop of the century. Now I'm sort of like willing it to happen. Maybe if we put it out there, Aaron Rodgers, because we know he's online, because he was recently seen in a video with Tom Brady, Phil Mickelson, Bryson DeChambeau, because they're doing one of those celebrity match things. And he was wearing a t-shirt that said, I'm offended. And he's in this whole spat with the Packers right now. So we know he knows what he's doing. So maybe Rodgers, I love that I live in this world where Aaron Rodgers knows that our podcast exists. And
maybe he probably doesn't, Charlotte, but that's okay.
Like, well, that's what I'm saying. I'm like, he hears this, and then he seeks out Colin Kaepernick, and we end up being right.
Well, there was a lot of talk out there in the sports world that Aaron Rodgers was probably retired. It was definitely a thing, right? That was definitely not just something that I had made up on this show. So I guess that's the breaking news. The breaking news is that the story that I made up is like I went full circle on this thing. Like I made up that he was retiring, and then now I have confirmation that he's not, and like I'm back to report that and like everyone listening is like, yeah, dude, duh, we know that. Like we never once. You're refuting your own reports now. I was like, yes, that's what I'm doing. The wheels are just spinning, and there's no one's moving at all.
That a few minutes ago you said not to speculate, but
yeah.
I think that this segues perfectly into what we want to talk about, though, because today what we want to talk about, we mentioned Kevin Durant, we mentioned Suns in 4, we mentioned Chris Paul. I brought up the Brady, like everything that's happening now is somewhat related. We're kind of living through meme history. Like there's real sports stuff happening.
Yeah.
But there are very specific images and sort of moments of performance art that is only happening because fans are back. And I think that all of these things have that through line, that all of this is somewhat memeable. And you were the original meme. We had 15 months, Mark, were the only memes were Tom Brady holding up 4 fingers for 4th down and you trying to meme Brad Stevens to IU. And now fans are back in the stands. We're ready to go. Let's unpack all of it.
Let's unpack everything that's good. Speaking of Rodgers and Durant, I didn't even think about it till I heard you making the segue into more of the NBA world from Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers and Kevin Durant feel very similar to me.
Wow.
And I haven't really given this any thought until I just heard you say this. But if Aaron Rodgers wasn't playing for the Packers his entire career and was bouncing around, because here's a big picture thought about Kevin Durant. As we were watching Kevin Durant last night have what people are calling the best playoff game of his life. I saw the phrase "best player in the world" being thrown around a bunch, which like. I don't know how NBA media works. I'm trying to figure this out. I swear to God, these people get a memo from the league. Like everybody uses the same phrase. Like whenever a kid under 25 has a big game, every single NBA person says the league is in good hands. Nobody says the league has a bunch of really good young players. Nobody says, wow, this is cool how the next wave of players is great. Nobody says,
no.
Well, the future is bright. No one says the future is bright. They say the league is in good hands. That is the phrase. And last night, Kevin Durant, what do you have? 49 points, 17 rebounds. Like honestly, pull numbers out of a hat. That's what he had.
There was
it was
a triple double tossed in there somewhere. 48 minutes. I mean, unbelievable.
He played every minute.
Yeah.
Name one stat that you would find impressive. He did that, and then he did every other stat impressive as well. And the phrase that everyone was using was best player in the world, which like I'm not going to refute that. The way he played last night, he probably is right now the best player in the world. I just like I'm scratching my head. I'm like, did a memo go out that like we're all supposed to use the phrase not the best player on earth, not the best player in the NBA, the best player in the world? I don't know. It was very strange how the NBA media works. I'm trying to figure that out still.
That is strange because it was the kind of game that made you think. It sort of stopped you in your tracks. Like when he hit that last 3, you were like, how on earth is it possible?
And then he did the if we're talking about memes, what's the one where the guy all I can think is the oof load size and the guy's like oof like that. Like Kevin Durant made that face when he
did like the right, totally. And then the hug with Steve Nash.
Yeah.
That sort of turned into a thing. But the reason that I bring that last shot up is because that was a culmination of a game that probably was the point at which the PR person sent out the memo was like, here's the headline. And then I read an article this morning that was called Kevin Durant is the best player in the world. And I was like,
yes.
And it was like, move over, LeBron. And I was like, I'm sorry, what are we actually doing? Like,
but just wait until I mean, Kawhi, knock on wood, hopefully he can play. I assume most people that are hearing this probably, I'm assuming it's going to end up being bad news because that's where it seems like it's headed.
Mark.
But if Kawhi wasn't injured, Kawhi has an awesome Game 5 for the Clippers, then everyone's calling him the best player in the world. And then like fast forward to to Luka Doncic next year has a triple double where he scores 61 points and he's the best player. It's a never ending thing with the but back to the original point I was gonna make about Durant is it dawned on me watching Kevin Durant go nuts. A lot of people were obviously coming out and saying this is awesome. Kevin Durant is one of the best scorers I've ever seen, maybe the best scorer. It does not feel to me though, Charlotte, that Kevin Durant has fans though. I feel like Kevin Durant, and you can stop me. This is one man's opinion, so stop me if you disagree, by all means.
Yeah.
My read on it is that Kevin Durant has admirers. He does not have fans. Kevin Durant does not have what the teenagers would call stans. He does not have people in the replies that are going to bat for him, that would fight to the death to defend his honor and his legacy and all that. He has made this bet by his own doing. He is through decisions off the court, whether it's teaming up with super teams, it turns a lot of people off, whether it's trolling people on the internet with burner accounts, whether it's his press conference, like his whole persona. And also he's kind of frankly like said as much in interviews that he's like, I don't care about legacy. I don't care about like where I rank. I don't care. Like he has chirped at reporters about that. You media people are corny as hell. None of this matters to me. Please stop talking. And I think through all of that, there are not people fighting for Kevin Durant's place in the pantheon, like the pyramid, whatever the hell the way NBA people talk about, like where do we rank guys, all that stuff. It does not feel like people want to fight for Kevin Durant. And I find that fascinating because as we were talking about Aaron Rodgers, it feels to me like the only people who are Aaron Rodgers fans are Packers fans. And now that Aaron Rodgers has like kind of spoiled his relationship with the Packers, I wonder, is Aaron Rodgers similar to Kevin Durant, where he's like this generational player, GOAT tier player, who does not have quote unquote fans in the way that like a Tom Brady would, where Tom Brady could go off the Buccaneers and go play for the Chargers now. Charlotte Wider will cheer for Tom Brady. Tom Brady could go play in the Canadian Football League. Charlotte Wider will cheer for Tom Brady, right? Like you're a Tom Brady fan. The way I sort of was a Peyton Manning fan when he went to the Broncos, and I feel like Aaron Rodgers doesn't really have fans. I feel like Kevin Durant doesn't have fans. That's my connection I just made. Your thoughts?
So I'm interested that you say you don't think Aaron Rodgers has fans, because I feel like I know a lot of people who are not necessarily Packer. Yeah, I guess, no, I think you're right in that both of them are unmistakably brilliant at what they do. Both of them, there is not a single person alive who can say either of those people are bad at playing the sport that they play. Just not possible. Like, however, Durant doesn't have people who there are far more people who would say a different player is their favorite player than they would say Durant is, but they would probably be very ready to admit that Durant is a better player than their favorite player. And I think Rodgers is a weird guy in that, like, every once in a while he'll show up in a presser after a game wearing a bolo tie and a cowboy hat and like have a different accent, and I think that some people don't know how to handle that, and he hasn't won enough rings for people to be like he is unmistakably great, and Durant has done it in ways that people have problems with. So I can totally see that. But what I think is happening with Durant right now is that I've always sort of admired him. Like, I don't know that you can say it's hard to be a fan of Kevin Durant because he is so perplexing, especially with what he does on the internet and how I'm just very confused by him all the time. It feels like he doesn't want fans. It feels like he's alienating. He's purposely alienating himself from the fan base, from the media, and he might have his reasons and they might make a ton of sense to him, but it is certainly unique from what you see from other superstar athletes, right? Right, he's not asking anyone to like him. It's like he's an anti-hero minus the hero part almost. But I've always admired, like, when he went to the Warriors, I was like, I get it, man. Like, if this is if I'm a selfish person in terms of like wanting to win rings, if that's the way we talk about it, I was like, of course he's going to go there. Why wouldn't he go there? But then he goes to Brooklyn, and I realized something last night watching him play. Watching Nets fans lose their mind, Nets fans who are very mad at me for saying they don't exist. First of all, never said that. We're not going into
all the shots to the crowd, by the way, as the Nets fans are losing their mind, are just like guys wearing like pastel polos, and like there's no groups of people wearing Nets jerseys, and Nets fans don't exist. Come at me, all the Nets fans going to Charlotte. Come at me, please. I welcome it.
Go to Mark.
Mark. Please, you don't exist though, so I have nothing to worry about.
But what I realized, Mark, is that You're right. What I realized is that this is a fan base that nobody like really likes or respects or thinks is real, with a player that everyone's like, yeah, you're really good, but like, what have you, like, we don't love you. They are made for each other. They are what each other needs to feel an us against the world mentality, to feel like they are coming into their own. Nets fans are like, we have the best player in the world right now. Come at us. Durant is like, I'm the best player in the world for a disrespected team. Like, it is the ultimate chip on your shoulder, something to prove moment for both the fan base and Durant, in a way that I'm like, oh my God, they found each other. It's like when two people that you weren't sure were ever going to find love and find each other. That's what this feels like to me.
Classic underdog story of three Hall of Fame players teaming up together with a Hall of Famer.
But that's what I mean. Like, there's no word for it. The biggest
city in this country. Yeah, it's
they have chips on their shoulder in a way that you're like, how can you have a chip on? It's like Tom Brady constantly being like, I was a 6th round pick.
Yeah, and it's like, Tom, you're no longer. No one looks at you as the 6th round pick anymore, but he still pretends like people, doubt him and all of that, and it's the opposite.
Kyrie, Harden, Durant, they're like against all odds, and the Nets fans are like, against all odds. 7 years ago, we started to exist. Like, it just feels like this is what each other needs.
Yeah. What stood out to me last night, though, was in talking about Durant maybe not having fans. Because, again, I think the way to phrase it would be admirers. Because I do think Aaron Rodgers fits that same bill. That, like, people, I love watching Aaron Rodgers play football. I'm not an Aaron Rodgers fan, though. Like, if you told me Aaron Rodgers isn't a top 10 quarterback, I'd be like, I disagree, but whatever. I don't care that much. And I think that's like, and Aaron Rodgers might be my favorite football player to watch, but I don't. There's something about him. Like, I'm not like stirred to like defend the guy or like get excited about. And that's similar to Kevin Durant. But I feel like last night was might been a turning point in that sort of the thought process towards Kevin Durant. Given that this was exactly, I guess, what everyone wanted to see from him. The main criticism of Kevin Durant, as you know, Charlotte, is that. He, with the exception of his first season when he played for the Seattle Supersonics, people forget he was actually on the last team in Seattle. Every other season of NBA basketball that this man has played, he has had a guy who is either a future or a former or a current MVP as a teammate.
Yep.
That is insane. That is absolutely insane. It's probably unprecedented. I can't imagine there's ever been a Hall of Fame type player that has had an MVP, basically a teammate who's been an MVP his entire career. So, yes, Kevin Durant has won 2 Finals MVPs. Yes, the Nets are heavy favorites to win the title, or they were before they had these injuries pop up. All of this is true. He is undoubtedly one of the greatest scorers of all time, if not for some people, the best pure scorer we have ever seen. He is currently, as it stands, the best player in the world. The NBA media has told us that is the case. But through all of that, there is still like the question of, can Kevin Durant do this on his own? We have seen like guys like LeBron James carry garbage teams to the finals. We have seen we have seen people have quote unquote their own team. Kevin Durant has never had his own team, and he has never done it on his own until last night when James Harden is limping through.
Useless. 0 for 6 in the first 10 minutes? Yeah.
Did he played, but did he really? Probably not. Kyrie Irving is still out. And I know Blake Griffin is still on the roster. He's not the Blake Griffin we all know and love, even though he kind of shows sides of life every so often. Jeff Green played awesome, but he's long in the tooth as well. He is not vintage Jeff Green, and also Jeff Green has never been like, no
one's like, oh, Jeff Green, my favorite player.
So he's got guys around him, but like last night checked all the boxes for this is the situation we've wanted to see from Kevin Durant. This is why we wanted him to stay in Oklahoma City, even though Westbrook was still there at the same time. This is why when he was going to leave Golden State, we didn't want him to team up with a super team. We wanted him to go to, say, the Knicks and have his own thing where this is the Kevin Durant team, and however far the Knicks go is how far Kevin Durant will take him. And last night we finally got to see it. And I guess for some people it's like, if you're a real serious Kevin Durant hater, maybe you look at that and instead of saying like, oh my God, wow, you did it, that's all I've ever wanted to see from you. Mm-hmm. Maybe now you're like, this proves that you don't need these guys, so why the hell do you keep teaming up with them? And maybe you just double down. Right. But it does feel like a lot of people have started to. This might end up if Chris Paul. I don't know what his COVID situation is going to end up being. But if say the Nets go on to win the title, and say James Harden never really comes back to full health because he does have an injury that is lingering and might not ever get him back to the level that we come to expect from James Harden. Kyrie Irving, say he's out for a while. Maybe Kevin Durant wins a title with this team, and that's it. And then now he has fans, and now he has people that are like, all right, I'm with you, Kevin. This is awesome. I don't know. That was an that was my mindset as I was watching this. It was like, we've seen Kevin Durant explode on a stage like this before, but this one felt different. I think that's why.
I think you're right. And I think that something that is very bizarre to me is that we take these team sports and then we're like, if you didn't do it on your own, you're not a GOAT. And it's like, what?
Yes.
Like, that is such a preposterous thing. And I guess that when you get to a certain point where everyone is so good, the only way to differentiate who is better is who puts a team on their back more. But like, we saw this. I wrote in my notes here for the show, try not to make a Patriots reference, but I'm going to. I did, because I was like, don't do it. But like, when Brady and Belichick split up, the entire narrative was like, who's going to do it on their own now? Brady did it, silenced the haters, whatever, unmistakably the GOAT. You have guys like LeBron, where like the article I read that was like greatest player in the world was like, this is what we've wanted from him. We've wanted to see him put his team on his back like LeBron. And then you have Durant do this he did. And you're watching it and you're like, wow, if this guy weren't playing, this team would be totally screwed. But like, what a wild metric to be. And that would be like if you and I had a podcast and there were, a cast of like 5 people on it. And someone was like, this is only a great podcast if everybody but Mark sucks and Mark still makes it a good show.
I still care.
Like who, like in what world? Or like you work at a marketing firm and it's like, wow, the rest of this group is garbage, but that copywriter really salvaged it. Like, I'm sorry, it is such a bizarre concept to me.
That supermodel is beautiful, but I want to see what she looks like with her nose cut off before I need to see her make it artificially harder on herself before I.
Right, I need to see her do it with Joker makeup on, and you're like, what?
Why would she do that? That's stupid.
It's like, or it's like the degrees of difficulty in a video game. It's like, if you don't do this on the hardest degree of difficulty, then you're not as great as we want you to be. And like,
meanwhile, you have guys like Luka Doncic in Dallas and Dame Lillard in Portland, who the second they lose in the playoffs, and even LeBron this year with Anthony Davis out, the second guys like that lose, there's an outcry of like, they need more help. Get these guys more help. How do we get them more help? But then Kevin Durant teams up and he has too much help. I agree, but to be fair, I'm also a Kevin Durant hater, so I'm not gonna, pretend like people that are hating on him are.
But even
wrong,
you watching last night, you admired it.
That's what I'm saying. Like, the guy is unbelievable, and I probably fall into the hype when I brought up the hypothetical Kevin Durant hater who's still watching last night and is not coming around to him. I don't think that's hypothetical. I think I was looking in the mirror when I said that, because that was my thought. I was like, Kevin, you should be doing this all the time. Like, this is what I've wanted to see from you all the time. I don't want to see you defer to Steph Curry every so often and Klay Thompson and Russell Westbrook. I mean, like,
Kevin,
my
have
God,
the
like,
game of your life every single time you step on the court, man.
I want you to have the freedom to fly, Kevin. Flap those wings. You don't need to be chained down by superstar teammates. Go. Be yourself. Be free. So the Nets win Game 5. Kevin Durant gives Steve Nash a big hug. First of all, do we have the picture? Could we throw that up, or at least like something to look at? I want you to look at this. So that picture right here, Steve Nash, very serious face. He's hugging Kevin Durant. What is going through Steve Nash's mind as he's hugging him? What does that face tell you, Charlotte?
Thank God. That's what that face. It's like, oh, thank God. That is the face of a man who has never been more relieved in his entire. That is the face of a man who is like, oh my God. That is a man who's been walking a tightrope for 4 hours and just got to the other side.
That is a man who has been living in Manhattan Beach, California for the last few years since he's retired from the NBA, has been loving his life, has been jogging on the beach and playing beach volleyball, and got a phone call to coach an NBA team and thought to himself, should I do this? And then he's like, you know what? I never won a championship in my playing career. Maybe this is my ticket to getting a ring. I'll go coach. At the time, it was Kyrie and Kevin Durant. Then we'll add James Harden into the mix. I can live in Brooklyn. This will all be great. I should do this. Oh, my God. All my stars are getting hurt. And we're playing the Bucks. Oh, no, this is a disaster. thank God I have Kevin Durant on my team. That's what his face tells me. It was like all those emotions went through. It was like Steve Nash was like, we almost just lost this title that I thought was going to be the easiest thing I've ever done in my life. Thank you, Kevin.
And he's also like, the thought that they could end up running into the Suns, the team that he never won with.
Oh yeah,
is just added to the pressure where he's like, oh my God, this is a literal nightmare. This went from being a dream to a nightmare so quickly, and it's also just such a good meme. Like that is such a my meme. Not to brag, is I'm Steve Nash and Kevin Durant is the last 10% on my phone battery. I'm like, please, God. That's God.
That's a good one. That's
Thanks.
good. I can't think of what my Kevin Durant would be, but that's a good one. The last 10% is
That's where my brain goes. I'm like, please, stay with me. Oh my God.
Steve Nash was that was me. Like that was the face I made when I went to that diner I've been going to, and the guy recognized me as a regular. And I just wanted to give him a hug and just be like, I'm finally home. He's like, you want the usual today? And I was like, oh my God.
You start crying.
I just give him a big hug. I was like, sir, you have no idea how hard this has been for me. I moved here and he's like, I don't care. And I was like, okay, but I'm going to tell you. I moved from Ohio out here. He's like, sir, please, for the love of God.
Sir, this is a Wendy's. And you're like, no, it's my diner. It's my home.
So this meme, how does this stack up with the Suns in 4 thing? Because should we watch the Suns in 4?
Should we watch Suns in 4?
Yeah, I have seen this. I've seen this twice. But then once you told me that you were gonna watch it on the show live, I decided I was not gonna watch it again. I'll watch it again. So I've only seen it twice, but I have seen it. You have not seen it.
No, I have not seen it. We also had a thought that we would ask our parents what they thought about it, but I couldn't show my mom because I couldn't see it. So I told her, hey, there's a guy, because this is what I know. I want to be upfront about what I know before I watch this for the first time. I know that he got into a fight and halfway through looked at the camera and said Suns in 4 and then went back to fighting. And so I told my mom that, and I was like, what do you think about that? She was like, that's funny. That's all I got.
There we go.
So
I tried to show my dad on the golf course and he said, son, please, some etiquette, please, for the love of God. Trying to hit this approach shot and you're running up to me with the phone, please.
I also
Show some respect. Not now.
I respect Bill Titus with every bone of my body. I wanted to know
please.
that. Also, I have a funny story about my phone running out of battery. If there's time at the end, I'll tell it because it's really stupid. But it was the worst possible time that a phone could run out of battery.
Someone texted you, I have a video of Colin Kaepernick and Aaron Rodgers playing football. And then you're like, oh my God, send it. But then your phone died and you couldn't get it.
And then 3 days later, it was Carl Anthony Towns. That's
all right,
funny. Sorry, just one last thing on that. Of all the people that the least newsworthy, it went from the most newsworthy to the least newsworthy.
Carl Anthony Towns is like if you could think of an athlete that everybody knows, but that is not going to move the needle in that way. Like, not to say no disrespect to Carl Anthony Towns,
like, people like
great
him.
player.
Yeah,
people like him. He does have a high-ish Q score, I would say. But yeah, that really takes the wind out of the sails in that one. The air gets let out of the balloon with that. He's up there on a list of guys that's just like, oh. Okay.
That is truly, I'm still like getting over how funny that whole thing. Anyways, let's watch the video. Let's watch it.
Suns and 4 guy.
Oh my God.
So it's a 1-on-2 situation, kind of 3, but the third Nuggets fan just kind of sitting there.
Oh, he just starts wailing on him.
Yeah.
He just sucker punches him, and the Suns guy, who looks a little like Steve Nash from this fuzzy angle, he's going for it. He's punching him. Oh, the Nuggets guy is hurt. The Nuggets guy, now they're kind of like wrestling. Oh my God, they're still going for it. As security or like a girl is trying to hold him back, just goes Suns in 4. Oh my God. All right, I love that.
And then the two guys leave. So here's my conspiracy theory. Watching this the third time, I think this is a plan. I think the two Jamal, because there are 2 guys in Jamal Murray jerseys. There looked to be 3 actually, but the third guy was not involved. He was just kind of standing there and laughing at his buddies. I don't know if you knew that too. The 2 guys that started this fight folded so fast, especially the one guy gets stuck in the face, and then he just ducks and puts his hands over his head, and Sons and Four guy grabs him by the top of the head and is just wailing on him, and he's holding him still as he's punching his friend. And I'm thinking that first guy that's ducking his head, at some point he's got to get back into the fight, but he doesn't. And I feel like he went down too easy.
So that's what I misunderstood. I thought, I still like the meme. I still think it's great. Sons and Four, I'm into it. I thought it was that in the middle of the fight, he turns, says Sons and Four, and then they go back to fighting each other. This, to me, this is my whole point, Mark. I'm getting fired up because memes used to be organic. Memes used to be, and I thought that this one was. I thought this was going to be like, okay, a return. Like, people don't know that they're being watched because it's like if you take the first MTV Real World. They did not know what to expect. It was real. It was raw. They broke the fourth wall constantly because they didn't really know. And then reality TV since then is basically scripted. And then you see their reunion. I watched their reunion. It was on, whatever. And they were talking about how they were the first people who ever did that. Like the first memes, the early memes of like crying Piccolo girl, or like the guy reading a book in the stands at a blowout with his shirt off in a college football game. Like those were the or like Northwestern kid. Like those were the things that I really don't think they knew, and that I almost felt bad for them. Now it's like I'm like, I don't trust it. I'm like, is this performance art? Like, is it like what we've gone so far through meme history and through this culture where everything is recorded that like, I don't know if I can trust it, but I also, does that matter? My question to you is, does it change it if Sons and Four guy knew that this is what he was going to do the whole time? And why do we like him when the whole conversation about fans has been like, look at these assholes, and then there's Sons and Four guy, and everyone's like, we like that guy. Like, what's going on?
Right. There have been 1,000 videos since fans have come back to the stands. Most of them Astros fans getting the shit kicked out of them. No, there have been a ton of fights in stands. There have been fans, like we've talked about it on the show a bunch. But this one broke through, and people love this. And people,
why?
So to answer your question, it doesn't matter. I think that's the tough reality you and I have to swallow as old folks. We are getting older, Charlotte.
Yeah.
The internet is a young man's game. We are not young people anymore, and I think that's just how it works in 2021. That I don't whether it's scripted or not, and I don't think this was scripted. I think it was. I don't think the guys in the Nuggets show, I don't actually think that they were purposely getting they're getting punched in the face. But as you said, it did feel like the Sons and Four guy was a little aware of the cameras being on him. He knew which camera to turn to. He knew that Sons and Four, there was
a long pause in the fighting before he turns and says Sons. And I still think that it wasn't planned. I still respect the presence of mind to do that. It is very funny. I'm into it.
It was not scripted. It was aware. And I do think that is just the world we live in now. And I think it's aware. And I don't think it matters. And I think if you're going to get hung up on that, you're going to find that you're going to be disappointed a lot in this world. Because I think that moment of innocence that what you brought up of the real world of people not really realizing that there's a camera on them and not really realize how does this reality show work? How does the moment you're punching another human being at a sporting event, you have to know that there are cameras on you, and you have to know the whole world is watching you. And that wasn't always the case. And I don't think there's any going back. I think that's just the world we live in now. And that's that. So
I think you're right. And I'm trying to figure out why it bothers me, because like, obviously that's how it is. You can be photographed at any time. People put their whole lives on the internet, and I don't know why I feel like such a meme purist, but I think to me, the funniest thing in the world is surprise and the unexpected. And I think knowing someone knows this is a possibility makes it feel like a little bit less of a surprise. And maybe that's why I get a little bit like, ugh, that's kind of a bummer, even though it doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter. And Sons and Four, we like Sons and Four because those two guys really sucker punch him. And
he didn't start it. He finished it. And boy, did he finish it. Because he didn't just finish it physically. He finished it with the trash talk, too. And the Suns literally win the series in 4, which is perfect as well.
Right. Yeah. And I think that as a big current Suns fan, I love that. Because here, the thing is that you've got Chris Paul having a renaissance, which, well, that seems to be a bit in jeopardy.
Can I bring up a Chris Paul point? what one thing that is going to stick with me with the COVID era of sports
Uh-huh.
is the phrasing of how to say guys are out. Because I still have no idea what the hell happened with Chris Paul. Like, did he test positive for COVID? Did someone the way they phrase it? I want like a running list of like the way these news breaks. That like it used to just be.
Right.
Do you remember in the early days? It was just like the early days. Like we've been we've been at this for 70 years.
I mean, it feels
They would
like
say
it, man.
Rudy Gobert tested positive for COVID-19. Donovan Mitchell tested positive for COVID-19. Now it's like, and then it was like may have been exposed to COVID. Now it's the way they phrase this stuff is so confusing.
I think what happened, Mark, I think lawyers got involved. I think it's HIPAA
Yeah.
laws. I think you legally can't say certain things. And people were like, you're not allowed to just. And in the beginning, there were no rules because we'd never been through a global
Right.
pandemic recently before. And I think with Chris Paul right now, what I read was we don't know if he's vaccinated. We don't know
Yes.
if someone close to him tested positive. We don't know if he tested positive. If he is vaccinated, we don't know if the rules of his quarantine will be different. We don't know anything. And I feel
So
like
the statement
maybe,
is he has violated a COVID protocol of and you read
but
that
I
and
don't
you're
even
like,
know if it's
so what
violated.
happened?
I think
Yeah,
it
or
might
like-
even be like the protocol was violated to him.
To
Like,
him by yeah. The
So-
protocol came to life. The piece of paper that has the protocol written on it grew legs.
The protocol went up to
Coughed
Chris and went,
on
you
Chris
did
Paul."
bad.
You're like, what happened? I'm so confused by. Anyway, that is I don't know. I like a black and white world, Charlotte, and this is a very gray area with these state. And the same with John Rahm. Like I was trying to suss that out too when he tested positive. I guess did he? But he said he was vaccinated. But no, he tested positive, but then went and ran and got the vaccine after he tested. I don't,
Wait, I didn't know about that one. Are you serious? I missed that somehow.
the golfer, yeah, they were playing
Yeah.
in the Memorial. John Rahm
Who I
was leading
thought
by 6
he's
strokes.
the one that I thought was like 50 years old, but who's younger
Yeah.
than I am, right?
Yes,
He's like 27.
probably, yeah. And he was leading, and then he's walking off the 18th green, and they're like, "You're done for the tournament." He's like, "What happened?" And I believe he tested positive, but then someone said he was vaccinated, but then someone else was like, he got vaccinated after he had been exposed to COVID, thinking that like he could retroactively vaccinate
He
the
could
COVID out of
un-get it.
him. But then, but like you said, it's like who knows what's true, what's not true. And the point I just wanted to bring up is that it's very confusing trying to figure out what the hell's going on with these guys. Because like, does Chris Paul have COVID? Probably not, but maybe. But like, it's like just the way people are talking about it is like, oh my God, is he out for the playoffs? And then other people are like, no, 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 no. They're gonna clear it up. I'm sure it's like he'll be back tomorrow. It's fine. It's not a big deal. But we don't
And
know.
as
We
a-
have no idea.
As a fan, you want to have some idea of what to expect. You know, like I'm a big Suns fan now for the past week, and I think that part of the reason that Suns and Four Guy is so likable is because the Suns are likable right now. You know,
Right,
you've got
right.
a young team, like the great narrative of Chris Paul, like they're steamrolling through, like they could be the ones to take down the villains of the Nets. And so Suns and Four Guy was in the right place at the right time, did the right thing. And then, you know, we've been joking, we're back, baby, but then something like that happens to Chris Paul, and we're like, maybe we're not back. Like, maybe we still can't have nice things. Like, what is going on?
That's why, yes, the Suns being likable makes a lot of sense too, and the white people like it. Like Yankees and Four Guy, people.
Oh
aren't getting
God,
behind
he
that.
would be hated. Oh my
No.
God, Patriots
Yankees
and Four
and-
Guy. I
Patriots
think
and
that guy
Four Guy.
exists, and I think
Yeah.
that he got like he can't go outside of New England in the witness protection program.
Yeah.
But you brought up the other day when we were talking about this Wizards guy. You know, remember
Yeah.
the fan who ran onto the court and jumped to touch the rim and then got tackled, and Bradley Beal was cracking up about it, and
Yeah.
like no one really cared, but it went away very quickly. Like I loved that guy. Why didn't that guy stick?
Exactly. I think that's what's worth maybe figuring out. Maybe that's what we can do here as we wrap up the show today is like figure that out is what is it? Like what is the formula? Because I think maybe Wizards guy, maybe there's like a threshold where you are trying to get too much attention. Like Suns and Four Guy did not start this fight. Suns and Four Guy did not go to the arena and say, I want to be a meme. I want people to talk about me tonight. It was kind of thrust on, the opportunity presented itself. He said, I'm going to punch these Nuggets fans, and then I'm going to turn to this camera that I see out of the corner of my eye and say, Suns and Four, baby. And that was semi-organic. As you said, it was aware. He was aware of what was going on, but it was organic enough
It
that
wasn't.
like I think
It didn't feel planned.
Right.
Unless we later find out that the Nuggets guys were plants, which we're
yes,
gonna.
but boy,
right
the way they were
now,
fighting, I have my doubts as to whether that was a genuine. Yeah, they looked like
they should be embarrassed by how they were fighting.
They looked like guys going up against the Paul brothers. They were taking dives so badly. Like it was like the one dude that the UFC fighter that just gets his ass kicked and was like, "Yeah, I'll cash that check." And you're like, "What just happened here? Like,
Right.
what you just?" Anyway, so I think maybe that's the difference is the Wizards guy, because you're right. The Wizards dude that just runs onto the floor does not go up to any of the players, does not threaten any player or anything else. Just runs out there and just like wants to test his vertical and just jumps up and hits the backboard and then gets tackled by security. And then Joel Embiid was standing next to him, and like that was a kind of a funny picture of him. Dwight Howard. It was Dwight Howard, not Joel Embiid. And having Dwight Howard, like his massive shoulders, just kind of like standing next to this guy that's been tackled. That felt like it checked a lot of boxes, but the one box it did not check was being organic and being it was very much manufactured. Like the guy obviously was like, I'm gonna go run and touch the backboard. This will be funny. And maybe there's something to that. Maybe it's like we're all, if you want it that badly, we're not gonna give it to you.
I think that's
You know?
right. I think that people now, the word authentic is tossed around all the time. It's like, I like this podcast because they're authentic. I like this person's social media because they're authentic. And people, that goes a long way. You can be an asshole but still be authentic and people respect you. But if you if people get the sense that you are trying even remotely a little bit too hard, they do not respect that. They want you,
Right.
they don't want to see you try. And that guy, it's also like that kid in school, like, there was a class clown who would like, a teacher would say something and, not to toot my own horn, but I would have a clever, no, like, so you, like, that kid has a clever comment and sort of like it spontaneously makes everyone laugh. But then there was a kid who like runs in with the shirt over his head and you're like, oh God, like get it together, Greg. Like nobody wants that. Like that's the difference.
Even the kid with the great comment, then he's like, oh, everyone laughed when I said, just like my mom, Mrs. Jones. And then everyone laughed. And then like 10 minutes go by and then Mrs. Jones says something. And then you're like, yeah, just like my mom, Mrs. Jones. And then everyone's like, dude, what? Like, what are you doing? You can't go back to the same well. Like the first time it was organic. You can't just
Exactly. I think that's what it is. I think that is what it is. The element of surprise and confidence. Like Suns and Four guy was confident and so sure of himself that he was like, hey, yeah, I'm in a fist fight, Suns and Four. But Wizards guy was like, I'm a little insecure. I need validation to feel good about myself. So I'm going to run onto the court. And that's what people don't like. They don't like seeing that.
I gotta say, it was the scene where like the dude comes running from up and it's not like he was like sitting courtside and decided I'm just gonna go now. He just comes YOLOing down the stairs.
That's what I was obsessed
and runs up
with
and touches
Wizards
it.
Guy.
I was too, and no one cared. And
I think
the timing was bad too. We should say that because the timing was at the time. This was Russell Westbrook's getting popcorn thrown on him. Ja Morant's family's getting called racial stuff in Utah, and Trae Young was spit on in Madison Square Garden. I think people were just kind of primed to hate all the fans, and maybe we got that out of our system. All of us, like even on our show, the news cycle kind of passed. We're like, what's going on with these fans? And it went, and then after everyone kind of flushed that down, then Suns and Four guy showed up, and maybe there's a part of it that like Suns and Four guy is not the bad guy here. Like we all hate these idiot fans that we've been talking about since all these fans have come back, and those were the Nuggets fans that based on the video started this. So Suns and Four guy was like, I'm gonna do something about all these unruly fans. Watch this. I'm gonna punch both of them. And then I'm going to stun on him by saying Suns and Four into the camera. Maybe there's something about that too. Yeah.
And what I love about this, I want to know as little about Suns and Four guy as possible.
You always do. Whenever the guy, the meme guy, you don't want to know anything else about him.
I don't want context. I don't want because we are talking about this strictly as what we see there as a representation of fandom, not as who that guy actually is, not as who the Nuggets fans actually are. Like we're talking about what the visual completely is here, and that is why it caught fire. Who knows, like the actual story could come out that like Suns and Four guy is an absolute asshole, and like the Nuggets guy, like you don't know.
We don't want to know.
That video that we saw That is what we're talking about. And I think that the one defensive Wizards guy, I know I just said that he seemed maybe like he was trying too hard. I think that felt so impulsive that I think that was pretty organic. I really think that guy was just, like, something took over that guy and he was like, this is my time, and just like sprinted, and that's why I liked it.
He felt the call of the void. Just
Yes.
calling to him. He's like, that backboard just keeps looking at me. Just keeps saying I can't touch it. I have to do this. And he's like with his wife. He's definitely not married. This guy. There's no way, right? Like he's not married.
He doesn't even have a girlfriend.
Yeah, he's like he's 19, 20, single dude. But in my head, he's like married with like he brought his 3 kids there, and he's like, Becky, I'm gonna do it. She's like, what are you doing, Jason? And he's like, I have to do this, Becky. This is my calling.
And she's
I'm
like,
going to
go
touch
forth
the
and
backboard.
conquer.
I'm going to steal the Declaration of Independence. And she's like, what? What are you talking about?
He's like, we're in Washington, D.C., Becky.
I'm going to slap the backboard, and then I'm going to steal the Declaration of
Call
Independence.
Nick Cage.
This is going to be awesome.
We're off to the races. There is one other meme thing, though, that's been happening this week that doesn't have to do with NBA, but it's the Madden cover. And the Madden cover comes out the day that you are listening to this show. It comes out Thursday, and they've been teasing it with like a baby goat and a big goat. So it's obviously going to be Mahomes and Brady, because we know it's going to be 2 people, and it's like, okay, we get it. That's who it's going to be. But I think that you could have a lot of fun with this as a meme. Like, we should put us on the Madden cover and be like, who says no?
Does the Madden cover matter? I guess they're trying to make it matter.
Well, it's one of these sports things, Mark, where if you were to tell, like, if you said there's all this inside joke language about sports, right? If you said Suns and 4 to someone who doesn't follow sports, they'd be like, what? If you said people forget that the Warriors blew a 3-1 lead, someone would be like, I never knew that in the first place. And you'd be like, no, it's a joke. If you said, like, I'm trying, Jennifer, to someone who doesn't follow the sports internet, like, it has its own culture where the Madden cover becomes a thing where if you were to explain this to someone who doesn't follow sports, you're like, yeah, okay, so there's this video game, and some people thought it was a curse, that, like, if you showed up on it, you were gonna have a bad season, but, like, it's a really big deal who's on the cover. Like, it matters so much to sports fans and so little when you think about it. Yeah,
and the way people talk about it is, that it's very prestigious. It's like it's on par with winning the MVP. But then also, as you said, there's a Madden curse to it, so some people don't want it. It's very strange. I don't play Madden anymore. Madden, frankly, kind of sucks as a video game now. So I just kind of got off the train a long time ago. But I can't tell. Is this like are the people? We are the People Sports Podcast. Yeah. We have to represent the people here. Are the people into this, or is this just like EA Sports, like just trying to like stir up some sort of?
No, like,
is it just like people are desperate for football stuff, and and we're in the off season, and this is just a prime? Like, should we make our own cover? Should we be like, we're gonna put out a magazine of the People Sports Podcast, and we're gonna name an NFL player onto the cover? Guess who it's gonna be? And everyone's like, yeah, it's Aaron Rodgers. And we're like, damn it.
Damn it. Nope, right. Shailene Woodley.
No, we promise it's not Aaron Rodgers.
We're like, it's Carl Anthony Towns.
It's Carl Anthony. It's the quarterback.
We have to get him on the podcast now. You realize
the brand new quarterback of the Green Bay Packers, Carl Anthony Towns.
Our new inside joke is Carl Anthony Towns. Like, he is. We got to get him on here.
He's Cat. You can't call him Carl Anthony Towns anymore. He's Cat. That's what I want people to write. I'm curious because I need to know. Like, I understand if you spelled it out, like if you texted it to me and you said, Cat is my favorite NBA player, I would know who you're talking about. Even if I heard you say Cat, I guess in the right context, it might register. But I have never in my life. And the NBA, they throw nicknames around. I mean, for God's sakes, no one knows Nikola Jokic's. They don't know how to pronounce his name. They just call him the Joker. All the NBA people that cover. So the people that cover the NBA and talk about the NBA are not afraid to just nickname CP3. Bron, they just call him LeBron. They don't say LeBron. They don't Kawhi. Like everyone's got like a one name thing.
That is
I have still never heard, like, all the NBA podcasts I listen to inside the NBA. I don't hear anybody say Cat with a big game last night.
It would take me 10 minutes thinking about it to figure out who they were talking about if they said Cat.
Yeah. I don't know, but maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm not paying as much attention as I should be.
Yeah, we need the people to tell us whether that's something that we're just missing. But It's funny to now think about guys who don't have nicknames, like Kevin Love.
Yeah, Kevin.
He's never been called anything but Kevin Love.
My theory on why Paul George especially and Chris Paul both, because Paul George is like PG-13 is he changed his number to 13 so he could be PG-13, and Chris Paul CP3. The reason we called them by their nicknames is because you can't call Chris Paul Chris, you can't call him Paul. Chris Paul, I guess that's just kind
They
of.
also have two first names.
They have two first names. That's what I mean. So if you call Paul George, you can't just say I don't know. So
What are you gonna call him, George?
But everyone else in the NBA, you just call them by one name. You just say Tatum or Kobe or LeBron or,
Right.
Trey.
It's not Chris.
You can't just say Chris. Yeah, great game from Chris last night.
One time, I drove around Houston with Paul Wall, and the whole time, I called him Paul Wall because I was like, yeah, what am I supposed to, like, you're not Paul.
Mr. Wall.
You're not Mr. Wall. You're Paul Wall. I was like, Paul Wall, where are we going? He was like, to get new rims put on my car. This is a true story.
Is John Wall the answer? Hearing
Yes.
you say Paul Wall, is John Wall doesn't have a nickname, does he?
I've never heard him called John.
I've never heard. Yeah, he's just John Wall. People just call him John Wall, and he might be the Kevin Love's a good answer as well.
Kyle Korver.
Okay, all right, that's
Sorry.
enough.
No, I'm just thinking of people who played for the Cavs and are white. No, I think people do care about Madden, though. I think they care about the cover.
Okay.
I think they get a lot of engagement. It's just sort of also like a fun thing to guess about.
Yeah.
And this year, I like it because there are two people on the cover. And our lists today are who the two people should be on the cover.
Who are two people that are better than Mahomes and Brady on the cover? Because that's kind of boring.
I think
I don't like
boring.
that. I think it's boring. I think you got to mix it up and make it fun. We don't know that it's actually them, by the way. So I guess maybe we're getting ahead of ourselves.
Nah, I mean,
Maybe it is going to be Myles Garrett and Trevor Lawrence, and you're gonna be like, "What? That doesn't make any sense." And you're like, "Yeah, two goats."
yeah.
What?
You're
Seems
like, they
pretty
both have
random.
farms.
Yeah, and you're like, "What?"
What?
But it's probably gonna be Brady and Mahomes. But let's say it's not. Who would you put on? Who would you put on the cover, Charlotte? Should we go through it?
I took this list a little seriously, more seriously than I thought I was going to, because I was like, who do I actually... First, I was just going to do NFL players and their dogs. Like, I was just going to do Belichick and Nike and, like, Juju Smith-Schuster and his dog Bougie. And then I was like, you got to stop. I can't do any more dog stuff right now. I need to back off here. I have an honorable mention, which is just Gardner Minshew alone. I think would be really...
Gardner
funny.
Minshew and Uncle Rico.
Yeah.
Gardner Minshew
on the
alone,
cover.
and yeah.
No, like Gardner
that-
Minshew with no one else, and everyone's like, "I'm sorry, what?" Like that to me would be the most confusing. People
But
wouldn't
he's
be
not-
mad. They just
He's
be
not.
like,
Yeah, he's not in uniform though. He doesn't look like a football player. He's just like in street clothes.
he's in a Canadian tuxedo with jorts and a mullet.
He's got a piece of straw coming out of his mouth.
Yeah,
You're like, what? I
overalls.
don't.
Yeah, so that to me is the funniest one. The first one that I think would be like the most fun in terms of engagement and in terms of these are two guys who ham it up. Like I want to see them go on a press tour for being on the Madden cover together, and that's George Kittle and Travis Kelce.
Oh, that's a good one.
I want them together on the cover.
That's good. Yeah, they are they friends in real life? They feel like they should be. I don't
think
see
so.
any. I don't see any content with those two together. How do
Well,
we fix that? We've had George
I-
on the program. Do we get Travis Kelce on the show?
Yeah, Travis I've talked to a lot. Travis and I rode a roller coaster together.
Oh my god. Okay. So this shouldn't be a
So-
problem. They do seem like natural. Or is this a situation where I've seen this happen a lot with anytime I mix friend groups of mine, where the guy who plays the role in one friend group plays the role in this other friend group, and then you mix them together, and it's sort of a Spider-Man meme. They're pointing at each other, and it feels like there's only room for one guy. There's only room for one guy who wears a bow tie, or one guy who, one of the zany friend. There's only room for one fat friend who will do will cannonball off the high dive. You can't have two guys in the group. You can't have two fat guys that are like, "Hey, everybody, cannonball!" And then it's like, "Yeah,
I'm countering that,
Curtis
Mark.
just did that. We don't need another one from you."
I'm countering that because I once went to a bachelorette party with one of my good friends, and she had for one of my good friends, and I was a bridesmaid, but she had like all of her friends come. You didn't even have to be in the wedding party. She was like, if I'm friends with you, like come to this thing. And I was a little worried because I was like, all right, we're crossing friends from college. We're crossing friends from after college. Like, I know, like, I was always the, like, hey, what's up? Like, you know, funny, like, funny friend, whatever. You know, like, oh, Charlotte's going to rent a moped as a joke. You know, that sort of thing. And I knew that there was another girl coming who, in the college group of friends, like, played that role. And I was like, how is this going to shape up? Loved her. Had the time of my life. We teamed up. We did like it was like a double. I thought I had so much fun with her. It's like we were both doing cannonballs at the same time, and it made it that much better. So it can go either way.
How does she feel about you though? How does she feel about you though?
Well, you know, you'll have to ask her, Michaela.
Michaela, you like me, right?
Right. I'm like,
right,
cool.
Michaela.
She DM'd me on Instagram a few months ago, so I think we're all right.
There you go. I like that. That's a good first one though. I need to see those two guys just doing stuff in general together.
Yeah.
My number 5, I'm gonna start out hot because this is for you youngins out there that don't know why it's called Madden, why the video game's called Madden. It's called Madden because of John Madden, this man who used to call NFL football games. He is a legend of, and I'm gonna make a lot of sense here, Charlotte. He called football games for basically every single network that exists.
Sorry, I know exactly. Keep going. I want to know if I'm right. Okay, he called football games.
He called football games for every network that exists, but he really, in my opinion, my unbiased opinion, he really made a name for himself. He really exploded onto the scene when he was calling games for Fox. He started at Fox in 1994, I believe. Went from like 94 to like 01, 02, something like that. Pat Summerall, John Madden. That is why this video game exists. It is because John Madden became such a superstar at this time, at the turn of the millennium, when he was calling games for Fox. And with that in mind, on the cover of Madden, whatever this is, 22, I believe, I want to see Cletus, the football playing robot, the mascot of Fox, of the NFL on Fox, and a turducken made famous by John Madden on Thanksgiving Day in 1997 when he could not believe that there was something called a turducken, a turkey stuffed inside a duck, stuffed inside a chicken. So those are the two things I'm putting on there, is Cletus, the football playing robot, and the turducken. I mean, like, I would love John Madden and Pat Summerall, but if we can't do that, I feel like this is a good workaround.
I was convinced you were going to say Joe Buck and Troy.
Joe Buck and Troy. I had that on the list as well. But I felt like the better nod to Madden is, instead of picking the guys who kind of replaced him, is picking the two Fox things, what he represents, which is Cletus, a robot that plays football, and a bird stuffed inside another bird stuffed inside another bird.
That's beautiful. That's perfect.
So there you go.
We should Photoshop Joe and Troy onto the Madden cover and just see if they interact with it on social.
Oh, that's a great one. Yeah, for the purposes of social media, make my number 5 Joe and Troy.
Yeah, I want to see.
Let's fix that. You know what? I'm gonna redo it. We're gonna keep this into the show, but I'm gonna redo it just for the clip, just for the breakout clip, so we can put it.
Yeah.
Watch it. So okay, straight face. Here we go.
Okay. Mark, wait. Let me say up.
Yeah,
Mark,
yeah.
who would you put on the Madden cover?
My number 5. This should be higher. Honestly, the more I thought about it, like, I can't. Unfortunately, we can't change the graphics because I already locked it in. My number 5, John Madden, Pat Summerall, obviously Fox football legends. When Madden became a video game, Charlotte, it became a video game when John Madden was working for Fox. He is a Fox broadcasting legend with Pat Summerall, and yet through all of that, John Madden and Pat Summerall are still the second best NFL team that Fox Sports has ever put out, because number 5 on my list, Joe Buck and Troy Aikman, put them on the cover of Madden, put the legends where they belong, lock it in.
I want Joe Buck on that
All right,
cover.
are we good? Okay.
Yeah, no, that was perfect. I loved it.
Okay.
Wait, let me do
Oh,
one
you
now.
do your
Ready?
you do your
I'm
part.
just going to do a part of it. Ready? We're going to cut this in,
Okay.
but we're leaving this in the podcast. I want the people to know how the magic happens. Mark, sorry. Mark, Joe Buck once famously replied to an email. We asked him to come on this show. He replied to an email and said, I would love to, but I'm very busy. And what we took away from that is that Joe Buck would love to come on this podcast. Joe, consider this another invitation. we're taking a few weeks off here because that's how it works. But when we come back,
cut it. Cut the video.
Sorry.
Cut the video.
Damn
Cut the
it.
video.
Damn
Okay.
it. Joe, come on the podcast.
Cut the video. All right. Number 4 on your list.
Okay, this one I'm very excited about. Josh Allen and Stefan Diggs, because they became best friends last year, and the cutest interview of the entire season was after the AFC divisional round. And I think that's what it was, or was it? Yeah, it was.
I think so. It doesn't matter.
so.
Just say
Anyway,
confidently.
whatever.
No one cares.
Yeah.
No one cares.
Guys in my DMs are like, excuse me, that was actually Actually, I'm gonna be honest. I haven't gotten a lot of guys in my DMs being like, "You're wrong."
Oh God, I was so worried where that was going.
Oh no, I got a real creepy one the other day that I can't even say on air. But no one's been like, "Hey, you got that wrong," and it was I'm like, cool. That's because I own the fact that I have no idea what I'm talking about.
You had my heart racing. You just started a sentence with like, I gotta be honest, I haven't been getting a lot of guys in the D, and I was like, Charlotte, please don't put that into the ether. Please don't.
No. Don't DM me, first of all. Nobody DM me. I'm kidding. I love hearing from the people. I don't know where I'm going with this. I'm starting over. Josh Allen, Stefan Diggs gave a great interview after, I believe, the AFC divisional round, and they were just talking about how they're buddies, and I thought it was adorable. And instead of putting like, oh, the GOAT, like put the best friends. Like, okay, let's promote teammates. Let's promote brotherly love. Let's promote supporting each other, lifting each other up. Josh Allen, Stefan Diggs, 2021 or 22. You heard it here first, folks.
I like it. I like where your head's at.
Thank you,
buddy. Like the cover Madden, the Madden cover. Should be. It looks like you're just going with buddy cop movies, which I like. I like the idea of that. Yeah. Who would make the best?
You should hear the rest of mine.
Yeah. Oh, I'm excited to. I have great news, Charlotte. I'm going to stick around for the rest of the show to do just that.
I'm like,
Number 4.
Please don't leave.
Number 4 on my list. Also Troy Buck. God damn.
I want the people to know that this is why we need a little bit of a break. We're gonna come back.
Number 4 on my list. Joe Buck and Troy Aikman yet again. Number 4 on my list. I thought like Madden again. We were talking about stuff that used to be organic and fun, and you're like, this is so cool. I can play a video game of NFL players, and John Madden is calling the game, and everything about it was organic and fun and authentic and cool. Madden sucks as a game now. Let's be honest. The people who are playing it do so because they're addicted to it and don't know how to stop. And they will tell you like, this game blows, but I have to play it. And you're like, why do you have to? And you're like, I have to play it. I have to touch the backboard at the Wizards game, and I must play Madden. It is in my blood. So the game is horrible. It has gone very corporate. They're trying to squeeze every dime out of this video game that they can. And with that in mind, I thought, what better way to like just really hammer home the point that like, what you believe matters in the NFL does not matter. These are the people in charge. Suck it, haters. Than to put Roger Goodell and Jerry Jones on the cover of Madden with their arms crossed and just like, just posing like Vince McMahon and saying,
like,
this is our league. Yeah. Or if not Jerry Jones, maybe Robert Kraft. I don't know. Like who Jerry Jones to me is Jerry like kind
Jones.
of he is the, it feels like if you're picking two guys that like, are
That's
the overlords of the league. You know what I mean?
I can't wait
that's
to
what I had
hear
in
your
mind.
number 1 because your number 4 just blew me away. And they have like they're holding a shield.
Yeah, they're
one
both
of them's holding a sword.
The shield is the NFL logo, and they got that, and that's.
And the other one's got and they're wearing helmets for some reason. Okay, my number 3 is Joe Burrow and Justin Fields. My large adult sons with ties to your alma mater.
Go Bucks.
Yeah, go Bucks, baby.
OH!
What?
Oh, we're going to Columbus. You'll learn everything.
All right.
I'll teach you.
Okay, we'll do that later.
We spell Ohio.
OH.
It's very.
Oh, is that what you just said? And I'm supposed to say IO.
Yeah. It's very. It's very high level stuff.
Never mind. Do you know there are so many vowels in Ohio?
There are. Yeah, there's actually only 2, but there's 3. But there's 2. Charlotte explains. Here we go. Go, Charlotte. Explain how to spell Ohio.
I'm laughing again. It's when for me, it's when I earnestly start explaining something to you.
Wait till you hear about Iowa. How many they have?
Oh my god, my eyes! I'm like cry laughing. Okay, my number 3 is Joe Burrow and Justin Fields. I get weirdly maternal about certain players as I get older. And these are kids that, like, I'm too old to even have babysat these guys. And so we're reaching, like, mom territory. When Joe Burrow got hurt, I was so upset. I want only the best for Justin Fields. I think they're friends. Again, we're going for the buddy cop vibe. In my mind, all these guys are on the cover in, like, Hawaiian shirts. Like Miami Vice style.
Yeah,
they're not in football outfits. Uniforms. They're in like
shirts.
Magnum PI.
Okay.
What's your number 3, please?
Oh my God.
Please let me stop talking.
I would like this. I would like Trevor Lawrence's reaction when it's announced that Joe Burrow and Justin Fields are on the cover. That's what I would want to see.
Well, that's why
I want a camera on Trevor Lawrence when he hears that news. I'm curious how he would react if that was the case. But
you can make the argument.
I love Joe Burrow. I'll make the argument.
I know, that's what I'm saying.
Anybody that's yeah. I'll make it.
I even pulled up statistics one day.
Okay, I like yours. Here's my number 3. I'm sticking with the quarterback as well, and that's a rookie in this class, but the other guy is not. My 2 picks are Tom Brady and Mac Jones, both of them with their shirts off. The famous pictures of Tom Brady and Mac Jones with their shirts off. The pre-draft Tom Brady, the pre-draft Mac Jones, but his wasn't at the combine. Mac Jones, I think, was after he won the national championship, right, where he's smoking the cigar and he's got his big belly hanging out.
That's so good.
I want those 2 shirtless pictures. I need to see that
yesterday. I need that on I need that Madden. I need them on a Madden cover, and I need that Madden cover on a T-shirt on the back of the Des Moines Yacht Club.
And I need a picture of you wearing that T-shirt on a coaster.
On a T-shirt.
That I then take a picture of that coaster and put it on a T-shirt. And then a picture of that T-shirt I put on a hat. A trucker hat.
And then we take a picture of the hat and we frame the picture.
And then that picture is put on Madden 23 next year. Somebody make that happen. What is your number 2?
My number 2 is this one is sort of, it's not a troll pick, but it's Baker Mayfield and Kyler Murray, because they are both Heisman winners from Oklahoma, and people didn't really like. Baker's got all this beef with the media, and people thought Kyler's hands were going to be too small, and I think they're friends, and they both have turned their teams around. Like, they've been very good. Even though people are still sort of like, what's their deal? And I think that they would get so much mileage, Baker especially would get so much mileage out of just like hating anyone who said he didn't deserve to be on the cover.
Yeah.
And that's worth it.
Baker would also go to bat for Kyler Murray, because I don't think Kyler Murray would say he's very boring, right? Like, I saw him in the one commercial that was he was not great. But that was kind of the bit, right? He was supposed to be not
I think the bit was that he when I talked to him during the Super Bowl this year on Zoom, which is even worse and hard to talk to someone than like in person for an interview like that. He played along more than I thought he would, but he doesn't like get in the muck, He's not KD on Twitter.
Right. So
Baker would take up that cause.
Yeah, for both of them. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like it. That's a good one. My number 2 is you could maybe classify this as a troll pick. I am trying to what is the announcement of the Madden cover if not a publicity thing? And you're just trying to get people talking about this video game. And I thought to myself, what better way to get people talking about the video game than to put Colin Kaepernick and Tim Tebow on the cover of Madden 22?
There you go.
And that is your story for, I guess, Colin Kaepernick and Aaron Rodgers. Now that they're best friends, you can put them on there. Kaepernick and Tebow, that would be on not only every sports channel, like that would somehow morph, like not immediately, but there would be enough talk about it that someone would fire off a take about this, and then that take would then lead CNN that night. You know what I mean?
Oh,
and
yeah,
then, now everybody,
Mark,
the late night shows are talking about it. Everybody's talking about this Madden cover.
This leads the Today Show. This is Good Morning America. And they have those graphics where for some reason on morning shows they always have a vertical picture and then fuzz on either side
Yes.
of it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, could you guys get a landscape maybe? Just throwing that out. Anyway, that's totally right. That's a really great point. Okay, my number one, and this is one that I'm very passionate about, and no one else is gonna care, but this is number one in my heart, is Dante Hightower and Derrick Henry, because Derrick Henry should have been the league MVP last year. I still believe that running backs get no respect. Dante Hightower, if he doesn't make that tackle at the 1 yard line in the Super Bowl against the Seahawks, Malcolm Butler doesn't make that interception. He has been integral to the Pats defense. He was out last year. The team fell apart. He's a leader in the locker room. He's a lovely guy. I've spoken to him before. Just had a kid and got married. Congrats, Dante. I want these two on the cover. They're both wearing crowns because Derrick Henry's whole thing is the king, and Dante deserves one. Boom.
Okay. Wow. You sold that pretty nicely. I don't
you.
have anything else to say.
That was the
Good
most
job.
coherent I've been all podcast.
Yeah, that was. You're waiting the whole show for that.
Turn that into a Twitter clip. Who's your number one?
My number one, I'll make it simple. 2 Peyton Hillises.
What?
Peyton Hillis being on the cover of. You don't remember this story?
No.
In 2011, Peyton Hillis was on the cover of Madden. He won an audience vote. This was when you want to talk about when the internet was in its golden age. This was 10 years ago. Peyton Hillis was the running back for the Cleveland Browns. He was memed onto the cover of Madden because they put it up to a vote, a national vote. And Peyton Hillis, I don't know how to explain Peyton Hillis other than to say he is he's not a joke in that like he was a good running back, but he was a joke in that like he did not belong on the Madden cover.
Right.
That he was a Danny Woodhead type player. Does that make sense?
Yes, I
a
get
scrappy white dude that like kind of fell into his role on the team through injuries and circumstance, and then he blew up, had one big year, and then when it came time to vote for who to be on the Madden cover, Peyton Hillis won the vote because like 4chan or something rigged the vote and decided let's troll this thing. It was like that, and they
they put him on the cover?
Yeah, so they put him on the cover 10 years ago. Yeah, he's by far the worst player to ever be on a Madden cover, by far.
I didn't know that. That's an unbelievable story.
So I think 10 years later we should put Peyton Hillis. I think he did. Yeah, I think he was part of the promo. I think like the promo that Madden's been doing. I think Peyton Hillis has a cameo in it. I never actually saw it, but I had read an article about it or something.
So Peyton Hillis and Peyton Hillis. There it is. You win.
So 2 Peyton Hillises. This would have worked a lot better if you understood the joke, but
no, I'm glad you
okay.
explained it because what if other people didn't know it and now they get it?
Right around that same time, I remember Pitbull saying he would do a concert at like any Walmart in America, and then 4chan rigged that vote and sent him to Alaska, and then he did it. I don't know why this is so vivid in my mind, but Pitbull played a concert at a Walmart in Alaska. It was the same era of the internet where it was like anytime anyone does a vote, we must rig this thing and make it funny. And back then, I guess like this was before like people knew about trolls, I guess.
Right.
So like
right.
they're like, wow, I guess like the people really want to see Peyton Hillis on the cover. I guess we have to do it. And now if that happened, they would be like, all right. So they obviously rigged it. Like let's do a different method of determining this. But back then,
when all the BTS fans bought out the Trump rally and then no one showed up.
Yeah.
Oh man, the internet. It was like memes. Used to be so pure. I'm kidding.
Pure.
The internet was never pure. Anyway, well, there are our list. I think we are having like come aparts in real time. I feel the gears of my brain are like slowing down as I'm talking.
I'm just gonna stare at you and watch you try to work your way out of this. Send us home, Charlotte. Send us home. Do it.
All right, I'm going to send us home. Here's the last thing we got to talk about. Mark, your birthday is next week. We don't have a show. We have something in the works for you, and it's not anything you're going to hate. You're really going to love it. It's a lovely thing, so don't get nervous, because I know that's immediately where your head went. In 2 weeks, when we come back, we'll have it ready for you. And I hope you have a lovely birthday. I know you're not excited about it, but it's going to be great.
I will not be back.
It's legitimately a good thing. Like,
Okay.
I promise you.
Okay.
It's not me reading your old tweets. I promise.
Okay. All right. Well.
Even though cheese and eggs together, calling them chegs I still think that's brilliant.
Charlotte, this is lovely. Enjoy your vacation. Enjoy Maine. I will see you in 2 weeks. Put Joe Buck and Troy Aikman on the cover of Madden. Make it happen. God bless all of you for listening. We'll be back in 2 weeks.
Hey pals, thanks for watching the People Sports Podcast YouTube channel. For more of mine and Mark's very weird rabbit holes, stick around, watch more. You can subscribe, smash that subscribe button. You know you want to. We're going to give you all the weird stuff we possibly can.